Continuing our coverage on this new law, our Jesus Martinez is joining us here in studio tonight. Jesus, we're hearing from state officials and local officials as well on what this bill is intended to do. What are they saying about SB4 and how they're going to enforce it in our region?
Yeah, Mara, East Texas State Representative Cole Hefner, who's actually a co-sponsor of this bill, says he wants to clarify that this bill is not intended to racially profile anyone in the state of Texas, but rather it's a bill meant to be enforced in the border regions of the state to assist them with illegal border crossings. Now, Governor Greg Abbott has been in support of this law, making this statement just minutes before the Supreme Court's ruling, saying, quote, "This is clearly a positive development." Local law enforcement also want to put the public at ease, saying they don't want people to be afraid and to go on about their day.
We have seen a complete and utter failure of the Biden administration and the federal government to do the fundamental job of protecting our borders.
As a result, Representative Hefner says state lawmakers are taking it upon themselves to protect their own border with SB4, a law that will allow police to detain people if they are suspected of being in the U.S. illegally, a law that has been juggled in the courts for weeks.
That immigration is a federal issue, not a state issue.
Jose Sanchez is an immigration attorney from Longview.
All this is new. We don't know. It's never been done.
He says this law could set a precedent for other border states with much uncertainty between state and federal powers.
How are they going to be the same? How are they going to be different? Can they have those? What does this mean? What does that mean? You can't have that.
What is certain, though, is that nothing will change the way law enforcement interacts with people in East Texas.
We're not going to profile. We're not going to ask somebody to show their papers where they're from. The law came to be to assist our sheriffs, our border sheriffs, DPS, along the Mexican border.
He says many other sheriffs across the area have a similar stance of not profiling when it comes to SB4, adding the only enforceable part of SB4 in East Texas would be when it comes to human trafficking.
This bill doesn't authorize, necessarily state law enforcement to go round people up. This is about stopping people at the border. So today's Supreme Court ruling, basically sending it back to the Fifth Circuit to run its course, is not the end. It's not the final victory, but it is a big step in the right direction.
But whether or not actually people do get detained or did get arrested and do get deported, it's a possibility that we could see that in the next couple of weeks unless the court intervenes and says it can't do it.
While SB4 is in the Circuit of Appeals, it could very well end up in the hands of the Supreme Court once again.
In a couple of weeks, it could go back to Supreme Court for them to halt it again or not halt it again, however they want to decide.
Now, Sanchez also wants to let the public know to have a plan if you do end up being detained and know who to call, and adds that you do have the right to remain silent. Law enforcement and Representative Hefner echoing that SB4's focus is at the border. Mara.